Every once in a while, there comes a game that has a shining new idea which is rife with potential. A game that takes a simple concept and converts it into a concoction of fun gameplay and great emotional highs, making it memorable for years to come. The recently released Knockout City tries to be one of those games. But in an era where microtransactions are to be expected from any game that is not narrative focused, it succumbs to the pitfalls of being designed to serve a live service model, which in some ways works to its detriment. Having experienced the game along with some of my friends, I feel the need to get the word out for this game. So, on today's podcast, we're trying something different and reviewing Knockout City. Hi, I'm Ishak, and this is the IXI Gaming Podcast. I've had some great moments with Knockout City over the past 10 or so days. But there are so many things about this game that are telltale signs of the industry and its business models followed today, which by and large comes with its own bag of good and bad. And that is why on today's podcast, I wanted to talk about what does and doesn't work for Knockout City instead of what would have otherwise been an in-depth conversation of this year's E3, which is just around the corner, as you know. But don't you worry, we have you covered on E3 in the form of a written blog post on our website, so do check it out. On to the review then. For those that aren't aware, Knockout City is a multiplayer game that has players team up against other teams to take them down in a match of dodgeball. That's right, the same game we played in school during PT classes. And that's what immediately sets this game apart from your run-of-the-mill multiplayer, which is usually a first or third person shooter. Knockout City is in the league of games that have been made with love and care by small teams, with gameplay that is easy to pick up and play. The likes of Rocket League and Fall Guys come to mind when we talk about such games, and that is a very good thing. And make no mistake, that is exactly what this game is, a game made with love and care, but one where the devs have been limited to cater to the business aspect of the game. We'll get to the rather unusual predicaments of this game in some time, but let's talk about what works in favor of Knockout City. First off, there is the gameplay. If you know what dodgeball is, then you know exactly what to do in this game. Find a player from the opposite team, hit them with the balls that can be found in various spots in the map while avoiding incoming hits yourself. This simple gameplay loop is bolstered by added abilities like gliding, jumping, and of course dodging. Along with this, the 5 available maps add their own mix of gameplay elements to keep the experience from getting stale. But none of this would matter if all of this didn't feel right. Unfortunately, that's where Knockout City shines. The core gameplay has been executed masterfully, with player movement feeling just right while not being too clunky or too snappy, so to speak. Throwing the ball with and without charge has varying level of heft to it, and catching incoming attacks by pressing L2 at just the right moment feels ever so satisfying and just doesn't get old. And supporting this gameplay loop is a control scheme that players of any third-person perspective games will feel right at home with. R2 to throw, hold R2 to charge and release to throw the charged ball, X to jump, square to dash or dodge, L1 to pass, and timing L2 correctly to catch an incoming ball. All of this feels very intuitive, and these basics easily gel into muscle memory when you keep playing the game regularly. But it's not just the easy to pick up gameplay that is great in Knockout City. There is a learning curve here in order to make yourself familiar with the game's various nuances. There are various types of balls with different attributes and various elements available in the map. All when combined can add a good amount of depth to the minute-to-minute gameplay. Split decisions on whether to catch or dodge an incoming attack based on what type of ball has been thrown at you, changing oneself into a dodgeball which can result in an instant KO both for the opposition or yourself based on how the play turns out, predicting curveballs and getting the timing right to catch it instead of getting hit, trying to get close to an opponent so you can dash your way to knock the ball out of them, faking a throw so the opponent misses the catch and gets hit instead. These are some of the things that you will get familiar with as you play, and the game as a result feels more rewarding each time you pull off any of these moves. There is an emphasis on skill here, and the players with inherently higher skill level will definitely reap the rewards deserving of their skills. The game also features various challenges and objectives that can be tracked and completed to earn XP and a rather by the numbers list of game modes that you would expect in a game like this to keep things interesting. What also works in the favor of the game is its visuals and audio. The Fortnite style visual aesthetics feel more right in this game than it does in Fortnite. The audio design is mostly on point with funky music tracks and sound effects that emphasize each throw, dodge, and catch, elevating the core gameplay. The pseudo-retro styling and the quirky animations add personality to the game, although much of what can be seen in the game does seem to be designed to be iterated on and to be sold to players for premium currencies, akin to the live service business model. And on that note, we come to what is not so good about Knockout City. Well, to begin with, this is not a straightforward case of a game being designed to thrive on its in-game microtransactions alone. The intent lies somewhere in between a game that wants to be sold at a retail price and one that serves the freemium model. And as such, we have an identity crisis here. The game is currently sold at a certain price depending on the platform and the version you want to buy. Yet once in, you can see the setup for a game that is intended to cash in on anything cosmetic that games nowadays can entice you into buying. All of these elements are cleverly disguised under customization options, but one glimpse at it and you know what's going on. These customization options include player icon, outfit, hairstyles, gliders, gloves, ultimate holograms, KOFX, taunts, and victory poses, just to name a few. So we kinda know where this is going. Now, all of this would be fine if the game had enough to justify the price of entry, however small the price of entry may be. But that isn't the case here. The available game modes feel bare bones, and the 5 maps on offer feel a bit too familiar to one another. Granted, games like Fall Guys also follow the same model, but they had just the right amount of content to justify the price, which cannot be said about Knockout City. In its current state, the game looks like it should have been a free game, fully embracing the freemium model. Even more so because it has gameplay that can have people coming back. I hope the publishers realize this and make amends at the earliest and avoid making Knockout City the next Destruction All-Stars. It is great to see that the game has hit 2 million players in its first week, but a vast majority of that can be attributed to the fact that A, it's a new game, and B, it's free with EA Play subscription, which also makes it available for free on Xbox Game Pass Ultimate and Game Pass for PC. But on platforms like PlayStation, Switch, and Steam, the game has to be purchased in order to be played. EA recently made the game available to everyone until they reach level 25, after which a purchase is necessary, and I feel that this is a step in the right direction. Beneath all the rubble of an unsure business model is a game that is crafted with love and a lot of fun to play, especially with friends. Knockout City is a different type of multiplayer game, just the kind that you want while taking a break from your Call of Duty sessions, or for those who are looking for a fun time with friends in general. I hope this game does well and EA steps up to make the right decisions to make this game a success, because it has the recipe for success in its gameplay, and that's what's most important for a game in my opinion. But in the case of Knockout City, it is going to be its future support with content that will determine the fate of this game. To rate this game with a number, I would give it a 7 out of 10, keeping in mind not only the great gameplay, but also the lack of content in its current state. But despite the 7 out of 10 rating, I would recommend you try Knockout City, especially if you're an EA Play or a Game Pass Ultimate subscriber. Chances are, you might end up having a lot of fun. So that is one man's take on Knockout City. What did you think of the game when it was first announced? Have you played the game yet? If so, how do you like it? Do you think a freemium model is the best way to go for Knockout City? Let's discuss this and more in podcasts to come. Until then, I'm Ishak and this has been the IXI Gaming Podcast. You take care, stay safe, and keep gaming.